Regular scheduled board meeting for September is now called to order. First order of business is to establish a quorum, and we have a motion to establish a quorum. Please let the record reflect that. And we don't have any guest speakers today or anybody that wanted to address the board, but we do have with us the mayor, Jennifer Font, and I better have in fact, y'all raise your hands to be recognized. And they are on the agenda today for Belcher, for the grant application for the village of Belcher to replace their central air conditioning system, which accommodates both the town and the library system, and that will be on the agenda. And we thank you both for coming today. We have no public comment according to Mr. Tuttle, so we'll move right on. And the public comment will be the approval of the agenda. I'm going to pause for a couple of minutes to make sure everybody has an opportunity to really look at the agenda and see if there's anything, any omissions or deletions or that you would like to make to the agenda. Also about 20 seconds, and after that, we can go ahead and approve. There's no exceptions or adjustments. Are you okay with that? We have a motion to approve? So moved. Seconded by Don. Seconded by Scotty Bell. To approve the agenda, all in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? We have no opposing votes. The agenda is approved as written in the order that it is written. Next is the approval of the minutes from the previous meeting. Everyone has received a copy of the meeting minutes since the last meeting in adequate time, I want to say. And thank you, John, for getting everything out in a very timely fashion. Thank you, Captain Tumanello, for getting everything out in a timely fashion. If there's no recommendations, any changes or corrections, we'll go ahead and approve the minutes as written without exception. There are no exceptions. The minutes from the previous meeting on July 2019 are hereby approved. And we do have some unfinished business. We have Mr. Michael Gould here with us today, who's going to finish up the audit report. And we welcome you, Michael, and we're eager to hear what you have to say about the audit report. Thank you.
Thank you. First of all, I want to thank the board for choosing Carberry's Ingram to perform the audit, and also thank the staff here for all of their help in ensuring that we were able to complete the audit in a timely manner. As I'm sure you're well aware, the library's financial accounting is very intertwined with the City of Shreveport, and Carberry Ingram also audits the City of Shreveport. I'm not the audit partner on that audit those, but I do lean heavily on that team to be able to complete this audit. So unfortunately, y'all always kind of come down to the wire, and as long as we're performing the city's audit, I don't necessarily see that changing. And I apologize, for being at the last minute. And so I will keep my comments brief because I only have good news to report with regards to my audit of the library's financial statements. We issued an unmodified opinion, which is the best opinion, also called a clean opinion. We found no material weaknesses, significant deficiencies, material non-compliance, no fraud or illegal acts. So basically, there's nothing really juicy and exciting to report on. So,
I'm so sorry.
It is good news, and so we encountered realistically no significant difficulties in performing the audit. Just a little bit of time to get certain things out of the city. The big thing that I wanted to discuss here, which you may have read about with regards to the city's audit, the library participates in the pension and what we call OPEB, the other post-employment benefit plans that are administered by the City of Shreveport. And several years ago, there's a change in accounting standards where a much larger pension liability was added to the financial statements. Well, for 2018, that was the year that the OPEB, the other post-employment benefits liability, also hit. And so in the very back of the binder that I gave everyone, there's a little handout here that kind of explains what happened with this. It's called GASB 75. 5, accounting and financial reporting for post-employment benefits other than pensions. This explains what happened there. As a result of the adoption of this new accounting standard in the government-wide financial statements, we booked a prior period adjustment. So this was a cumulative effect of this accounting principle to the 2017 financial statements of $8.6 million. So the library's share of the city's OPEB plan is $8.6 million at the beginning of the 2018 year. And that's an extremely, extremely large number. The OPEB plans have always historically been pay-as-you-go, and there's no accumulation of assets in those plans. And that was part of why this change in accounting principles came out, was so that the true potential liability for these plans was more transparent on the face of the financial statements. So as of December 31st, 2018, the liability for the pension and also the OPEB is nearly $50 million for the library, which is an extremely, extremely large number. But I want to temper any concern I may have just created that the management of the library is not done at that level. That is more a strategic, long-range level, and most of those decisions are not even within your ability to control. That's being decided at the City of Shreveport level. But because of the participation of the library's employees in those plans, a portion of that liability that really belongs at the city level gets pushed down. So the good news with regards to that is that as much as there are economic issues in this area, the library for 2018 had a $380,000 increase in the governmental funds, which that's really what you're managing. You're managing your governmental funds, and that's what's controllable to a certain degree, in that you get your money in from your various sources. For example, governmental revenues increased nearly $300,000 because of an increase in the ad valorem taxes that were received by the library. But a lot of that goes out back through personnel expenses. And so, that's what keeps the lights on and the library running. And on that front, everything looks really great. Exceeded budget in most regards. So I would say overall, the financial statements of the library look really great. And so I don't want to cause alarm with the discussion of the pension and OPEB liabilities, but it's there. And so I've given everyone multiple handouts. And so within your binder is the financial statement. And so it's nearly 40 pages long. The what we call a required communications document. This is only for the use of management and the board of control of the library. And this kind of summarizes some of the points that I just went over. And we also, this was the second year that we performed the statewide agreed upon procedures. And we only had to do a selected few of these agreed upon procedures, and overall they looked good. Nothing of major concern there. So with that, I would love the opportunity to answer any questions you may have.
First, the question of the day.
Yes.
And I just want to make sure I was understanding what you were just saying about the gas P75 and OPEB.
Yes.
Because the library's employees participate in those programs,
Correct.
the library is liable for $8 million or $50 million.
Well, the adjustment was at $8 million. The total obligation is closer to $50 million.
And that would be paid out in the event that everybody retired today.
Yes.
Correct.
Yes, that would be if everyone retired, that would be the ultimate liability. But again, it would be paid out over the lifetime of the retirees. So These are actuarially determined amounts, and I'm not an actuary, I'm an accountant. And so a lot of it has to do with the length of time that, like with the pension or the other post-employment benefits, that the retirees would be eligible to receive those benefits, their expected life expectancy, and then the cost as those benefits are being provided during their retirement.
So again, that figure would be $8 million over the life of all of our employees.
50,
Okay, all right.
closer to 50.
So it's not a lump sum.
It is not a lump
Paid
sum.
out as needed.
As needed, exactly. Operationally, nothing changes within the library, and that's one of the things, I don't necessarily want this to go in the minutes, but I will venture to say it. We, as a profession, in the pursuit of making things more transparent, sometimes really only have the effect of causing some alarm. And I think you actually did a really great job of digesting that and understanding this is not an immediate $50 million liability to the library. This is something that will be paid out and rapidly spread over a period of time. And it's going to change by enormous numbers on an annual basis. It's difficult to even think of it in terms of being real money because those numbers are so large. But conceptually, you're absolutely correct. It will be paid off well into the future.
Thank you.
Don, I would just like to add that currently OPEB stands for the post-employment benefits, and of all the retired library staff currently receiving post-employment benefits, there's one. So I'm on the hook for $8 million to pay one person's retired health insurance, and that's government accounting for you. I'll stop there.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Both, I think we all understand that was everybody's one. The next item on the agenda is the capital improvement grant application for the village of Belcher. And before we take a look at it, I'm going to ask John to present it. Let me just say that I've worked with some of these numbers before, the figure of approximately $5,800 to install an air handler, evaporator column, and a condensing unit, most reasonable in cost. It does fall under the capital improvement bill. So this is something, in talking with John, that we're going to do for each of the part-time branches and towns as we progress in awarding the money to each of the villages and towns. So, John, if you will explain the application form for the funds.
Again, the application form is quite straightforward. They are in dire need of an HVAC system. The entire system for the building, we are on hook for 60% of that because of the square footage that is used by the library and the joint use footage. We looked through all of our checklists and assurances, and at this time everything has been met, and I propose to you that you approve the grant as written. Any questions for me or Mayor Fan?
The application should be in your binder, 4 pages back. And this is body is part of the capital improvement funds that were awarded $65,000, if I'm not mistaken, for the part-time, and $100,000 for families.
We have to give Belcher credit for being first ones up and first ones with their application is.
Is there a schedule that we're using that for each town will get their improvements, or just as they need?
As they need them over the next 4 years.
Anybody have any questions before a motion? I do have one question. Jim, and Mr. Tucker, I noticed there was a percentage, like 50-something percent from the library pays, certain percentage from the town pays, and getting some of this capital improvement money. Do we have sort of a standard that we're using, or a formula that we're using, as to when the town gets 100%, exclusively for library, and that part benefiting the town?
It's all based on the same percentages of square footage that we pay for the subsidies. In fact, it's basically the same formula, depending on the amount of space that's dedicated directly to the library, and then those joint use spaces. For an example, Belcher has so many thousand square feet, with 12, 14, 15, something like that, that belongs to the library only. And then there's a section that's joint use, and then a section that is strictly for the town. When you combine the joint use square footage and the regular footage, it's all library use, that comes out to about 60% of the square foot, more like 59%. So
I guess my question would be, if a village, for example, were to propose to add on a room to have a space, and it's going to be exclusively for the library, not functional as part of the town, at least while we're under agreement, then it would be 100% that they would pay.
Correct.
That type of improvement. And that's all. I just wanted to clarify that for all the board members. So there would be no
and it's only a couple of our part-time branches that have this issue. Some of them are 100% library use and don't have this. I think we have to deal with Ida, Belcher. Deontay's not here today, so she can't refresh my memory, but Moriansport we're going to have a little bit of an issue with, because we share space there. Greenwood, Dottie is in discussion with those folks. She wants the whole building or a new building. So everybody. So
I think it's great that we do have some guidelines in place. I talked to this with Mrs. Fortenberry earlier when we first did this. I said, if you want to do a parking lot improvement, that is not exclusive to the library, and all of the money that was there for the library improvement, which includes furnishings and drapes and lighting and everything else, should not be, that money should not be used to improve primarily the equity of the town. Exclusive. So that's good. I'm glad y'all had that point. And I have no further questions. Any board members? You have a question?
I don't have no question about that. I mean, the question is not about, I'm glad y'all don't take that into consideration. Like Greenwood and what we're saying, Greenwood is leasing out the building, maybe the room right next to it. And like I told them at a meeting, we met with them, that they are, if that building come vacant, it may come vacant, then the town also wanted, and then they have a place to meet, even to have, they will have a place to meet, they have little meetings and things, you know, other than the little town. And then, and it's very small. So anyway, then, they said every time this lady wants to move, and she's thinking about it, we're gonna grab it, and try to do something with it. You know, we need that room, it's really the back of it.
Jim?
This gets a little complicated on that. There's only, I think, two or three libraries that are 100%. Austin, Oil City, they're 100%. So anything they do is going to be 100% covered up to the maximum amount. But then you have shared facilities, and that is, if you're going to build a meeting room in the library, you know, proper, and it's controlled by the library staff, and that 100% would be available. But if you build a room outside or expand the room that is a shared room, then it changes those formulas and that.
That makes sense.
But it's not a quick question. If, for instance, a library that shares a meeting, and that's based at 50%, we agreed to, when we did the subsidies, that space should be considered if the library is using it on a 50% basis, like the town or the village or whatever. And that, so if you're only doing a meeting room that we share, it would be a 50-50. And then, like I say, so same thing with roofs and stuff like that. If you're doing the whole thing, or if you're only doing the library part, you know, it makes a difference.
what you, can I answer that? So what you're saying that even if we share that room, city would be responsible 50% and we'd be responsible 50%, that's what you're saying? To share, when you're talking about.
Yes, unless they turn it over
Oh, yeah.
to you.
Okay.
Now, that don't mean they can't use it for anything.
Oh, yeah, I
you know,
understand,
but-
okay, good.
But if it's the meeting room for the town council, which it is in that case, and they're having other meetings, public meetings or whatever, out that have nothing to do with the library, then it would be shared 50%. If it's basically turned over to the library, then the possibilities are 100%.
Any other questions?
It's complicated.
Thank you, Jim, I appreciate it. I think we're all in agreement that's what it needs to be. The chair will entertain a motion for approval.
So moved.
Second. Second. Got that, Kathy? We have a motion, we have a second to approve the funding for the capital improvement project for Belcher Library Branch. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? No. On behalf of the mayor, I'd like to let everybody know they're invited for coffee and donuts, and the singer division is working.
Absolutely.
Call it in, working. And now for the fun part, personnel committee report and recommendations. Who chair? Dolores?
That puts it square on Neil.
Well, I think Neil has some moves on it. There's two things while Neil's looking for his notes we have to consider approving. That's the recommendation for the 2019 starting salary increase for lower classifications, which will be a separate vote, and then a vote on changing of full-time branch hours to include Sunday hours. Those are the two issues that were on the personnel agenda. So the report, once we get the report on the recommendation, we can go ahead and entertain a motion or prefer answer some questions first.
Okay, so we should know I was gonna do this, I've had some notes. First thing that the committee approved a couple of things. One was increasing the instrumental pay rates for a number of low paid positions. Everybody's gonna make $11, $12, $13 an hour. $11 an hour will be the lowest pay grade in the market. Lowest employees. This will increase, this will impact 54 employees, and the cost for the remainder of this year will be $6,800. The second thing that we approved is Sunday hours for all the branches, all the full-time branches. So the short version of that is all the full-time branches without, let's see, 1 to 5 on Sunday, 1 to 5 on Sunday. Somewhat adjusted hours for the rest of the week. Bottom line of it is that all full-time branches will be open 64 hours a week. Monday through Wednesday, 9 to 8, Thursday through Saturday, 9 to 6, Sunday, 1 to 5. And the way that we're going to fund this is to eliminate the so-called premium pay. Current employees get back with this Sunday shift. Sunday shift is just a normal shift, and they're working about once every 4 weeks. Okay? That's basically it.
Do anybody have any questions on the report?
I want to say something.
Is it ahead?
Okay, I think it's great what you're doing, you know, and always the lower pay, you know, they always say they don't get the money they need, and which is always, and you always go up, but I like the idea that y'all decided to talk about the lower paid people. And the library, I think I was one of the hollering about the library need to be open on Sunday. And I was hollering
Yes,
that
you
one,
were. Yes, you were.
Oh, Because over in West Shreveport where I live, it's busy. The library is busy. And they meet, and then I look at the fact that we meet, I didn't know y'all going to do all of them, which I'm just as happy to do. And the idea of the, now explain to me now, look, this will be a part of the regular work, like someone will work like one time out of Sunday, right? In Poland. Once every
Once every 4 weeks.
There'll be a one per them, so they work once, they might work the first week and not work again until the next month.
So any individual employee should.
Individual in Poland, can they volunteer, you tell them that?
This will actually be a scheduled work shift.
Schedule work shift, okay.
So they will trade off with somebody.
Oh, okay. So it won't be no added hours or nothing?
Correct.
No, it's just like they off on the day before October. Okay. And, well, I think it's great. I really like that idea, like great for the,
Well, the reason for upping all of the lower classifications is it's getting more and more difficult to hire individuals in those classifications. And so we did what everybody does in that situation, raise the threshold there so that we can get better qualified candidates.
I also look,
Oh, well.
Oh, you got the one?
Yeah, but I just had to put chance on. Okay, I'm looking at, you also said that, all the employees, you're gonna give everybody a raise too, right?
Now, the lower classifications takes effect November this year, so that's actually a pay
That's all
increase for
November.
this
Okay.
year in November, and then all of the 2020 pay increases would go into effect January 1.
Okay.
I too love the fact that we're gonna have branch open on Sunday. I just wanted to clarify, for those who weren't at the committee meeting, that Sundays used to be opportunity for overtime, and now it's going to just be regular part of the schedule. Okay.
Correct.
So are there opportunities for overtime?
We are doing our best to eliminate overtime
Okay.
everywhere and anywhere. We are strictly using emergency overtime for those instances when IT has to go and deal with somebody cutting a cable somewhere and they're out in the middle of the night, or worse yet, Wayne is our maintenance guy is out there dealing with a tree limb through a window and stuff at midnight, or his facilities guys are working overtime trying to get something accomplished. So we cannot eliminate overtime. Time and a half, that's federally regulated. But what we mean by premium pay is you could be a 20-hour-a-week worker working part-time Monday through Saturday, and then you could work a Sunday shift on top of that and get time and a half, even though you weren't exceeding your 40 hours, the federal 40 hours. So we were paying time and a half, whether it was over 40 or under 40. So we're doing away with that. We're making that Sunday shift part of your regularly scheduled work week. And if the way Deonce and I looked at it, and we actually scheduled out almost every branch to make sure that there will be an occasion where there will be opportunities for folks to work more than one Sunday every 4 or 5 weeks, but we're going to try and limit that. And it will take a little period of about 3 or 4 months to iron out some of the tweaks and look at this, that, and the other, where we might need to use a substitute. But the whole, basically the elimination of premium pay allowed us to make sure that we had security guards on those Sunday hours too. So it was a trade-off.
I apologize, I've slept since I committed to these things. The last thing is the cost of living adjustments for employees. We're recommending approval of that as well. It's going to be across the board, 1% for everybody, and also a raise of 1% for in addition to the first 1%, an additional raise of 1% for employees to meet the pay raise requirements related to training, performance, and discipline. So 2%, we're very good standing for all stuff. And we're recommending keeping entry-level salaries at the current level. So that's the complete report.
time, so this is important. Any board members have any questions or comments they'd like to make? Okay, there's two items we're voting on here. Under item 6B-I, recommendation of 2019 starting pay increases for lower classifications and changing of full-time branch hours to include Sunday hours. That's all incorporated into the extensive report that deals with SCADE. So we need a motion. You heard the committee report, being on the question, we have a motion to approve these two items. So moved. So moved, and second.
Second.
Okay, the motion, as I understand it, is the motion to approve the 2019 starting pay increase for lower classifications and the changing of the full-time branch hours to include Sunday hours. Okay, we have a second. We have a second, a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, the motion carries. That section of the new business, capital.
Well, you still need to vote on number 3. That's a separate proposed 2020 personnel recommendations.
Oh, I thought we
Good.
did that already.
No.
We did on that. I had 2 seconds at the first, at the same time, so I got to choose one of it. Yes,
Okay, I'm sorry, we need the third one, the proposed 2020 personnel recommendations. Anyone move?
So moved.
Second?
Okay, we want to move in second. We got a motion by second by Dottie Bell to approve the 2020 personnel recommendations. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? No? Okay, moving on, the Finance Committee report recommendations. Is the chairman of the Finance Committee present? Yes, right here. So if you would go ahead and give the report before we call for a vote.
Under the new business, 2019 proposed budget adjustment. Due to the late arrival of the market space ban in 2019 and the increase in supplies due to the increase in programming and supplies of the marketplace, budget adjustments were proposed. John Howard moved and Bill Johnson second. The motion to recommend the library board approve the 2019 budget adjustment as proposed. The adjustments include a budget transfer of $113,700, which is a decrease from the operating reserve fund balance in order to increase the improvement and equipment fund by $73,700 and increase the materials and supply fund by $40,000. The motion carries. 2020 proposed library budget. John Tuggle presented an overview of that budget and the personnel proposals were approved by the personnel. Don Howard moved and Bill Johnson second. The motion to recommend the library board approve the 2020 proposed library budget, including the personnel recommendations as presented, and that motion carries. That is the report on the.
Thank you. Levine for that report. I think that was pretty concise and very clear. There's 2 items there that need to be approved. Do we have any questions or discussion? We're taking a vote. Anybody? I'll pause for a second. There's no discussion, no recommendations, no changes. The chair would like to entertain a motion to approve items of the C, Finance Committee recommendations.
So moved.
Got that? You got that, Kathy? Moved by Shannon, second by Joe Levine.
The budget, right?
Budget adjustment first.
Motion.
Yeah, we got to do these separate, so budget
Okay,
adjustment first.
The first recommendation then, or the first motion will be to approve the proposed 2020 library budget. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? No. Okay.
Justine seconded. Shannon heard.
Library budget is approved. The second motion, do we have the same motion from that?
Yes, sir.
That's seconded by Joe Levine. The second motion is to approve the 2019 budget adjustment. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. Motion carried. We approve the library budget and the budget adjustments and all of the recommendations of the personnel committee. The next item on the agenda is the reports from the various departments in the library. And the first, always, is Mr. John Tuttle, the executive director. John?
Thank you, first off, for approving the 2020 budget. I have to tell you, it was perhaps of the four I've done at this point, is the most difficult. Things are tightening up a little bit, and it's always interesting trying to take care of all the issues that need to be taken care of and come up with a balanced budget. You have my report for August and September. Just one thing I'd like to just talk a little bit about, since it's out there, it's in the newspapers, and that's my meeting with the parish administration and a couple of committers, along with the chancellor, John Pierre of Southern University Law Center, regarding possible joint use of our downtown library. The status at this point, Mr. Tebby and I attended a rather large meeting with lots of stakeholders and city and parish and regional administration and political officers. Everybody is very, very excited about the possibility, but at this time the commission has paid I think 6 figures for a feasibility study. That study should be completed by the end of this year, and then we will know what Southern is looking at. Some discussion with them. I'm free to share with you. They're looking for not a typical law school. They're looking for something a little bit different. And Chancellor Pierre thinks Shreveport, the Shreveport-Bossier area would be perfect for this type of law school that would focus on weekends and night attendance as opposed to just regular Monday through Friday. And so what we have discussed is that the downtown library would, if nothing else, be a wonderful joint use library where we could turn the 3rd floor and possibly some of the 4th floor into a law library for them. And I have to tell you, Chancellor Pierre is rather excited about the possibility of putting both the law school and the library on the 3rd and 4th floors. It would take some interesting reworking of existing facilities to pull that off, but it would be an exciting thing to do with our downtown library, and would bring all kinds of different foot traffic to that building, and all kinds of potential programming issues and just wonderful possibilities there. So, but at this point, it's strictly a feasibility study. We will see how that goes, and as that works out, I look forward to telling you more and more about that. We do have some other interesting things going on. I'll let Samantha fill you in on the foundation. At this time, let me just quickly give you an overview of where the current 19 budget is as far as our seven-month period ending July 31st. We are on track. If you're looking at your printout, you'll see what we've already taken care of is the excessive supplies line item, and we've added $40,000 to that category, which will help us out through the rest of the year. Other than that, everything is on schedule, and we are being fiscally responsible. And any questions?
I'd just like to comment, very brief comment on Chancellor Pierre, Southern University. That meeting was held in control of the luncheon. 99% of the time spent there was a pure meeting of some very distinguished individuals talking about the law school. Chancellor Pierre made it very clear that he is not the first to come up with this idea. I want to mention that he said he's the 5th person to come up with this idea of having the law school. But what impressed the audience more than anything is the funding that he planned on finding to help what he's calling the non-traditional program, and for non-traditional students who attend the law school. And he said, by that I'm talking about I'm talking about flex schedule like they would do for people working offshore. I'm talking about people that can only go to school possibly Thursday, Saturday, and Sunday because they have children and they're working and they're aspiring. There's no other way for them to go to a law school. And you're very adamant about wanting to help those that are in need and have a desire. And I believe what he said, and that is, you can't measure someone's determination to succeed. He just wants to have them have that opportunity. And I just want to share that. I was impressed. I think at that time you had to run out when he concluded with your law.
Any other questions? If not, since Ms. Sutton is out, I will, with your permission, move forward and quickly discuss her report. Yeah. If you haven't been to any of our programs lately, shame on you. We've been doing some wonderful things. The outreach and planning team's been everywhere. The Make and Go has a packed calendar, and they're actually begging for staff, even though I had to sadly tell them, I can't give you a body, but we may get you some hours. So they are, the Make and Go, if I'm reading this correctly, has made 108 stops since April 2019 and plans to make 30 more before the end of next month. September is National Library Card Sign-Up Month. If you've got your library card with you today before you leave, we'd like to snap a photo with you and your library card so we can get that up on our social media sites. And the after-school feeding program is continuing. If you haven't been to the Red River Revel lately, please come in and check out the library. We're always there. We've got a nice children's section going on, and we'll be having lots of fun there this year. And the one interesting program that was, they did something, I think this weekend, did they not, or today? Not quite sure. I'm happy. It started today? That was this weekend. Okay. And then we're going to have another. The program is Grow with Google, and if you're not aware, Google is trying to outmuscle Microsoft with all of their different products, and they are partnering with lots of libraries, including us, to help demonstrate how you, as an entrepreneur or small business person, can come and use Google to grow your business. And we are partnering with them to help spread the good word and offer those classes. So if you know anybody who's looking to start their own business, or they've got a small business and they need some assistance, they can grow with Google and Shreve Memorial Library. And that's about all of Deontay's report.
Yes.
The LaSalle conference, which is October 7th, is also going to have the Make and Go Makerspace Day there, so that others in the state can see it, because we're the only ones that believe it happens. It's going to be important. Great.
First, Kathy, where's LaSalle? Is it here?
We're talking there.
Okay. Secondly, I would like to say that on behalf of September being library card sign up, the students at J.S. Clark Elementary had signing week last week where they signed for their library cards. I do have pictures of that, but I just wanted to know that I'm doing my outreach. My due outreaches are getting very good. So.
Yeah, it's this is perhaps our biggest push for Library Card Sign-Up Month, and I'm really excited about the turnout and response we're getting, and we're going to grow that program every year.
I love the newborn, little Tadeo, that got his library card. Boy, oh girl. That was so great.
Any questions? No?
Question? Okay, our next report, I believe, by the Jenny Paxton, School Services.
You should have received my update. I was just going to highlight a couple of things from my report. We had talked earlier this year about the SNL University. We actually rolled that out in August. And to great response. The participants seem to really be enjoying it. We're bringing in outside speakers, they're doing book talks, they're doing community service projects. It's 15 sessions in the fall, and then in the spring, they will be paired up with various leaders within the library to do mentoring for about 40 hours, with graduation scheduled to be in June. In our Access Services Department, the departments cataloging, interlibrary loan, and acquisitions work together to put together a little bit more than an hour-long class introducing some of our employees to the services they provide. It was hands-on, very exciting, and a fun opportunity. I kind of went through it, and we enjoyed it so much that we are doing a full day of supervisory training in a couple of weeks, and we have asked those three departments, and we've added the mobile library and the makerspace to the mix to provide the same thing for all of the supervisors in the library. So they'll all be coming here for a day of training, and that will be part of what they're going to get on that day. Our marketing department is continuing to do a fantastic job, and there were several handouts included with my report, and I just want to highlight the picture. I'm sure y'all saw Lamar Burton holding our library card. That got a huge response on social media. And then finally, our IT department has successfully implemented an e-commerce solution at Broadmoor. And as we look to see how this works, it's something that we're hoping to roll out to all branches to give patrons an opportunity to pay for copies or fines using their credit card. So we're excited for that. Any questions?
I just have a comment. I'm loving the billboards I'm seeing all over. They're really great, and the commercials, I know they air a lot this summer, but I mean, our presence, our visual presence is just amazing, so kudos to you guys.
I have one question, but I also want to say, when I looked at the marketing department report, I said, this is fantastic. We start with 35,000 flyers and certain things, the billboarding, the press releases. There's just so much going on. The library is growing in recognition. It's something every big organization has to do and has elected in the past, and that is that public recognition. So like any other business, unfortunately, we have to advertise what a great job we do. You're doing a great job of doing it. I just want to ask one thing about the Shreveport, University, SML University. I noticed you picked 7 out of 16. So, but it's going to be a reoccurring program.
Yes, it is.
And is there any type of, I hate to ask you a question, probably, but I will, pay incentive or promotional incentives or anything tied to attending this type of program?
It will give somebody who's graduated from the program an additional points in our application process if they apply for another job. We currently, the majority of the jobs in the library are advertised internally for a week. And in the application process, there are certain preferences that if somebody has something, it gives them some additional points, which kind of brings them to the top of that applicant pool.
But
That's
it's tough to weed out, you picked 7, I'm sure you wanted to control the size of the class.
It was very difficult. John and Deonce and
Susan, were you?
no, it was John and Deonce and I, this first time go around, that had to evaluate the applications and make decisions, and it was extremely difficult. Gina was in there as well.
Thank you. And I did appreciate the picture and the graphs that go along with all the work that's being done.
That's the marketing department.
That was great. I can look at that at a glance. I can see how many people on Facebook, how many people on Instagram, what's happening. Didn't notice July was obviously a very good month for everything.
Yes.
For some reason, we had some bids prior to that. Okay, our next report, John, I guess you're gonna have to give it Ms. Beyonce's Sutton's report.
Oh, I just did.
Oh, you gave that?
Yeah, I did that. Sorry.
Well, then there's only one lady left.
Well, you got Fort Mary, you worked on that.
2 left. Okay, who we gonna take next? Let's take Ms. Susan Fort Mary next on our report. She's got 9 things she's listed here. Where maintenance out of the many, we know that.
Yeah, we've been working behind the scenes in maintenance and finance and risk, doing all, quietly working behind the scenes, making sure everything runs, the lights are on, the plumbing works when you flush a toilet and all those kind of things, you know, fixing collapsed sewer lines or just whatever comes up and, just covering all of our bases there. But we all kind of sophisticated financial maneuverings, but it's not something you ever see or advertise.
Samantha, the foundation committee report.
The foundation is moving right along. They met again last week. We are still getting our housekeeping things in order, basically deciding what fiscal agent we want to use, make sure the bylaws are perfect and everyone can agree on them, and then filing our 501c3 status is the next step. So that's where the foundation is at currently.
Thank you. Do any of the board members, the next item is miscellaneous, have any items they would like to bring off or final comments before we go to the meeting? Okay.
I just like to thank the board, I thank the board and the truck and staff for, and those, I lost my brother, and we were so beautiful, so I thank y'all so much.
Anyone else? I don't know if the entire committee is here today for the nominating committee, if you already want to save yourself and coming back to the meeting, to be after today's meeting. Just a suggestion, nominating committee, because that recommendation, you're on it.
I know I'm on the committee. Have to be posted, yeah.
Oh, that's true, that's true. Is Dolores on? It's a public meeting, so it has to be posted.
You keep them.
Mr. Tubman, do you have any final remarks you'd like to make? I have none I'd like to make, so we thank our guests for coming today. We certainly appreciate y'all being here. I think Mike has already gone, auditor, and thanks to all of the fine reports from all of the committees. With that, the chair would like to entertain a motion to adjourn. So we'll move.
Second.
We got two set up, we got.
I want to remind y'all that our staff development day is on Monday, October 14th.
That was in the.
It's free lunch, Bob, if you show up the right time.
No, it's at the Treasure Civic Center.
Okay, we have a motion to adjourn in a second. All in favor? Aye, meeting adjourned. Thank you all very much.